All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down a playbook that's all about tackling one of the biggest headaches in software delivery, predictability. This is the Predictable Agile Playbook.
Look, we all love Agile, right? I mean, it's all about embracing change, responding to what the customer needs. But then comes the big, scary question, the one that keeps project managers and clients staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. How do you stay that flexible without the budget and the timeline just completely blowing up?
And that's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? On one side, you've got the business, and they need to make promises. They need to know when is it going to be done and how much is it going to cost. But on the other side, you've got the messy reality of development where things change and new ideas pop up. Most teams, well, they get stuck right in the middle of that fight.
But what if this isn't an either-or situation? The framework we're digging into today doesn't try to get rid of change. Nope. Instead, it gives you a system to make the cost and the impact of that change totally visible and, well, manageable. It's about finding predictability through agility, not by fighting against it.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about a problem that I bet a lot of you have seen up close. It's something this playbook calls the Agile paradox. You know the scene, right? You're doing all the things. Daily stand-ups, 2-week sprints, regular retros. You're checking all the boxes. And yet, you're still missing deadlines, and the budget is anybody's guess. That, my friends, is Agile theater. It's when you're performing the play of Agile, but you're not actually getting the results. You've got all the ceremony, but none of the predictability.
So the answer isn't to just pile on more bureaucracy and heavy-handed processes. Whew. The whole idea here is to introduce just enough governance to protect your commitments and keep things transparent, but without totally crushing the very flexibility that makes Agile so powerful to begin with.
All right, let's get into the good stuff. This is the core framework. This is how we move from a world of just, crossing our fingers and hoping for the best to a world of clear, accountable promises. And this right here is a really big mental shift. We are not talking about creating some massive 6-month locked-in plan. Not at all. Predictability in this world means something different. It means everybody understands what's a firm promise versus what's just an idea for the future. And it means we have a clear system for making trade-offs when, not if, things change. Okay, take a look at this. This visualizes the idea perfectly. See that timeline at the bottom? Way out in the long-term future, things are just a forecast. As they get closer into the midterm, they become planned. And only when they're right in front of us, see that red zone? Only then do they become a firm commitment. This makes it super clear to everybody that, hey, not everything in the backlog is a promise we're making for next week.
And this table just spells it all out nice and simple. Committed? That means the team is on the hook for it. Planned? That's our best guess for now, but it can be reforecasted. And forecast? That's purely directional. It's just pointing us in the right general direction. Just having these simple shared definitions can prevent so many arguments and misunderstandings down the line.
Okay, so you might be thinking, if we only commit to what's right in front of us, how do we ever get confident about what's coming up next? Great question. And that's exactly what this next phase is all about. It's about doing the prep work, the homework, to de-risk things before we even start to build. Meet Box, which stands for Business Analysis and User Experience. Think of Box as the engine that makes this whole thing run. Its only job is to reduce uncertainty, answer the tough questions, and get everyone on the same page before we make a development commitment. It's really an investment in clarity.
And this isn't some fuzzy concept. It's a real, structured process. You start with discovery to really get the problem. Then you build out your personas so you know who you're actually building for. From there, you map out the business flow. You bring it to life with UX/UI design. And finally, you shape all of that hard work into a backlog the team can actually use. See how each step just chips away at that uncertainty?
So even with all that amazing prep work, we all know what happens next, right? Change. It's going to happen. A stakeholder gets a brilliant new idea, the market zigs instead of zags. So how does this playbook deal with that reality without the whole project going completely off the rails? Well, the whole system is built on one beautifully simple rule. Anyone can suggest a new idea at any time. In fact, we want that creativity. But, and this is the important part, the decision to actually commit to that idea, to change the scope, time, or cost, only happens at scheduled, predictable moments. And this workflow diagram shows you exactly how it works. A new idea pops up, right? It goes into the uncommitted backlog. It just sits there, waiting. Then we hit that scheduled change review meeting. That is the moment we look at it and ask the hard questions. What's the impact? What do we have to trade to get this in?
It's all about making those decisions out in the open, with all the facts.
And it all comes down to this mantra: control, change, not discussion. We're not trying to shut people down. We're not building some slow, bureaucratic process. We're just creating a controlled, predictable forum to decide on the impact of those ideas. We encourage discussion, but we manage the commitment.
So we've got our planning horizons, we've got our box process, we've got a system for change, but how do we know if any of this is actually working? How do we prove that we're delivering predictably and with quality? Well, that's where the final piece of the system comes in, the scorecard.
So, instead of getting obsessed with just one metric, like velocity, this framework looks at the bigger picture. It uses a balanced scorecard built on 5 key things. How clear are the requirements? How stable is the scope? Are we hitting our schedule? How's the quality? The number of defects. And of course, is the client happy?
But here's the really, really smart part. You don't just measure every project the same way. The importance you give to each of those 5 factors totally depends on the kind of contract or commercial model you have. In other words, what you promised dictates what you measure.
This makes it really clear. Let's say you're on a fixed-price project. What matters most? Hitting that schedule and having crystal clear requirements. So those get weighted the highest. Now, what if you're on a long-term dedicated team engagement? The goal there is partnership and evolution, so keeping the client happy and the defect count low, that's the top priority. It's about tailoring your definition of success to the reality of the deal.
And at the end of the day, that's the real power of this whole system. It takes those vague, I feel like the project is going okay conversations and turns them into objective, data-driven discussions. It helps everyone see where the real problems are so you can actually fix them.
So, as we finish up here, I want to leave you with a question to take back to your own teams. And really think about it. Is your process actually protecting your promises, or is it just a collection of ceremonies that's, well, kind of hiding the chaos underneath? This playbook offers a path to make sure it's the former.